Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's Boom's Pop-Up Podcast, where we're going to be talking about some really fun things for a change. In the 360 days, which is probably some of the best gaming that you can, at least that I could remember, we had something called Summer of Arcade, and it was a spectacle. It really had the gaming media as well as fans on both sides of the line waiting for that block of games that was going to be released and what they were. But we're going to really break down some of the really best of the best. But to do that, I needed an amazing guest. And as usual, Creating Beyond Limits has stepped up to the plate and answered the call. Dean, welcome. Thank you so much for coming back on the show. This is going to be a good one.
Yeah, it really is. And like I said, every time I've been on it, thanks for having us. It's always a blast to talk video games with you. And I can speak for most people that have been playing from the 360 generation. The Summer of Arcade is something that you look forward to every year, because if you're someone that doesn't only play the AAA games, when this was happening, you were going to be getting indie games like they were called the arcade games, but these were up to a higher standard than most of the other games that released during the year, and they were just so amazing. Like, there was such a big collection of games that released over the years since the Summer Arcade launched, and most of them are games that I remember today and would consider to be games that I'd recommend to anyone to play, because I ranked them very highly. But we're going to be talking about those games as we get into the show, and I just can't wait to talk about them.
Well, listen, I'm going to say this. First of all, let's do a little bit of backstory of how long this program was. First of all, it lasted 6 years. It started in 2008, and if we remember, 2007 being an amazing time to be a gamer as a whole, not just an Xbox gamer, but a gamer as a whole. It was just an amazing year. 2008 comes. Microsoft announces, this arcade program, and it is pretty much amazing. It blows everyone away, and we're going to break down the, each year and the 5 titles. But I have to look. I looked over, and I just seen something pop up. Jay Zayas super chat for $25. Like, I am blown away. This is something that is new to the channel. Big shout out to you. Thank you, dude. That is really, really greatly appreciated. Before we get into the main topic of the show, last night while checking my emails, I was looking, and YouTube emailed me directly, and I'm officially partnered with them. My channel's monetized. Thank you so much, Dean. And I activated the super chat last night, and wow, what a way to start. That's all I can say. When we do these shows, at least for me, I never had monetary value in mind. I just like entertaining, and to see fans come out and donate is it's amazing. It really is. This is as humbling as I think I've ever been since starting the channel. But you know what? Let's get into why everyone is in the chat and anyone that's tuning in. It's greatly appreciated. 2008, which was the start of this amazing program that Microsoft had exclusively for the Xbox 360, and the first 5 games were absolutely outstanding. You had Bionic Commando Rearmed, Braid, Castle Crashes, Galaga Legions, and Geometry Wars Retro Evolve 2. Now, let's talk about them for a second, because I think it would be unfair to kind of just run through a list and not talk about the games. First of all, Braid was an amazing title, but for me personally, the one that stands out there is Castle Crashers, because I'm an old school kind of a cat, and having that 4-player co-op with that hand-drawn goodness is something that you don't see very often in today's games. Dean, what are some of your favorite memories out of those 5 games?
Of those 5 games, I played a bit of Bionic Commando. Braid is kind of in the backlog. I played a bit, but it's not something I fully finished. But that's not because the game was bad. That's just me and my bad habits with building up backlogs for games. It's like I like doing it for some reason, and then I look at the list and I get intimidated, and I'm like, there's so many games I have to finish. But Castle Crashers is the standout game for us. Funny thing about it though is I actually never finished it, but I probably put, I don't even want to guess, but I put a shit ton of hours into that game, but I never actually finished it. And it's because every time I played it, I was playing it with a different group of people, and I always restarted it because it was like, my character is like over leveled, so let's just start it again. And I always made it to like a certain point, either one step further than I was previously, and I stopped playing it and we would never meet up again or continue. So it's like every time I started, I just kept going through it. So I've seen the intro to that game and the cat pooping and everything. Like I just see that like the first like 10, 15 missions or whatever, like so many times. And at that point I just became like, oh, I really like, if I want to finish this game, I know I have to start it again, because to do it fairly instead of just jumping in halfway through. And because of that, and because I played the intro so many times, I was just like, I'm really not in the mood to go through all that again after doing it so many times. But I've done multiple times. I played the PvP, like versus the mini games that it has. And when it went to the Xbox One, I know this isn't the original 360 version, but they did add a multiplayer mode, another one that was like kind of, you're jumping around on a board trying to dodge people, and if they land on you, like you die. But I thought that was pretty fun, and I did like that they made that version for the Xbox One free for people that bought it on the 360.
Yeah, that was great. I love when they do that. You get 2 for 1. Like if you're an early adopter, it seems like this is what Microsoft does. This is what, again, I have been a big proponent of saying publicly how disappointed they are with their first party, and that's going to be a topic for another show. But I want to throw it out there that when they poop the bed, I will stand up and make a comment, because they're my console of choice. But these kind of things are the services and the giving back to the fans that a lot of people don't talk about. So that is a great point, Dean.
Maybe with the Xbox One version, I'll actually go back and finish the game.
Listen, I don't mind doing that because I never finished it, so I would do multiplayer with you in a second. Let we can do like a maybe like a public event and have anyone from the community just join, because that game is so well done, and it's so amazingly incredible, like a throwback to the old days. Like I grew up in the arcade. I remember putting quarters in on top of the machine waiting for your turn, right? I'm like I said, I make no qualms about being the old guy in the room. I remember the days of the Ninja Turtles and the X-Men and the Avengers, those 4-player co-op games, and this title really, in my opinion, is the best of the bunch, and I'm glad that you said that.
I just want to also say, before we jump into anything else, that the Behemoth, the developers that done Castle Crashers, like they done an amazing job supporting Castle Crashers, and with the remastered version on the Xbox One, because when they did make it free, I just remember the message that they wrote, and they were saying, when we made Castle Crashers, we didn't know how it was going to do, basically, and if the game could have caused them to go bankrupt, but because of that game was so successful, they felt like they owed everyone, and that's why they made the Xbox One version for free for a limited time, because it's their way of giving back. Like, and they still support some of their other games, like Battle Block Theater. That game that released on the 360. They only recently, I'm pretty sure they stopped supporting it, but it was only recently they stopped adding like different head pieces that you can get for your characters in that game. But until like the last few months, like they've been adding things like different heads for people to unlock, and that game came out years ago. So that just goes to show that they're really awesome developers and care about their consumers and the people that they're giving the games to.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's a great point, Dean, because when you look at a game that's old, a game gets a little long in the tooth. Usually a company will stop supporting it because they have to move on to something new to continue to make money for the company. To see this kind of dedication to their titles proves what kind of a company they are. But I want to move on to 2009, because this might be the best year. And again, we're going to break it down each year. Marvel vs. Capcom 2, New Age of Heroes, Shadow Complex, Explosion Man, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time Reshelled, and Trials HD. I mean, look, let me just say this. Those titles kept me playing those 5 games the entire summer nonstop. And you know what? Even when the achievements became a little harder to get, it didn't matter because we were just playing it to have fun. What is your take on 2009 possibly being the best year of Summer of Arcade?
Honestly, I cannot disagree with that, because out of those few games, 3 of them were games that I played a lot, and one of them I'd consider, I don't know why, but I'd consider like one of the best games I played of last generation, and that is Shadow Complex.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
that game, also another game, I'd like to say that they didn't make the remaster free, but it is available on the Xbox One, and it is backwards compatible for people that are watching or listening now. If you've never played this game, I highly suggest that you have either the backwards compatibility version you can get or the remaster. But Shadow Complex was an amazing game. I remember, I think I cleared it twice, but it was like it wasn't too hard. It was difficult in the right way, and it had its like little puzzles and obstacles that you had to go through inside the base, and you got your different pieces.
Yep.
It was like a Metrovania type game
Oh,
where
yes.
you get certain pieces that you like. There's certain areas that you can see at the start of the game, but you can't get to them because you don't have the right equipment. So you're like, I guess I'll be coming back here at some point. But it was a decent length. It wasn't overpriced. It was actually a bargain for the price they were selling it at, I think, considering how well I remember the game, and would easily recommend it to anyone. Explosion Man was a lot of fun. It was goofy.
Yep.
You think, oh, this game, it's not hard. You say that for like the first few levels, and then you're not going to get any further because the game gets extremely hard.
Yeah, that game broke your balls. There's no doubt about it.
I can't remember. Explosion Man and Miss Explosion Man, they both had co-op, right? It wasn't just Miss Explosion Man that added it, so I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember. Actually, I don't remember, to be completely honest.
I think they both had it. I'm pretty sure Explosion Man had co-op because you bounce off each other. They had like Explosion Man, I think, had like around 50 levels, and the co-op version had like 20 separate levels that were made specifically for co-op, because you had to use each other's like flames. Because when you're playing Explosion Man, you can bounce by using your explosions, and you can do it 3 times. So in co-op, you have to kind of like work together to explode off each other. It was pretty fun. It was crazy. One of the highlights. And Trials, also a game that you'd be like, oh, this is easy. You just go straight. Yeah, it's not easy. And Trials HD, the very first Trials game on the consoles that picked up and got multiple sequels, I have to say it was a fantastic game. I sucked at it, to be honest. I still suck at the newer ones.
I mean, you know what's crazy? You know, this is why this program works, and why this program needs to come back. But we'll break that down, you know, as to why I think it needs to come back. Because Trials HD is a household name now. That's like a real deal Ubisoft title, and there are fans that will buy that every time it's released.
I would. Like, I don't even like either like driving games, racing games. I know this isn't that type of thing, but this is a type of game that I wouldn't think I'd be interested in. But I was playing it in a friend's, like, because this was years ago when it came out, that he really liked motorbikes and cars and stuff like that. And he'd buy most of the games. So he got Trials, and I was playing it. Took us a while to get into it or to even give it a chance, until I seen he was doing the challenges where your bike is on fire and you have to go through the rings like you're flying.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, why are you doing that? This is different. And I realized
the next one is actually adding multiplayer from the E3 trailer that we saw. That looks very interesting and also extremely difficult.
It's always going to be difficult. But one thing, like with the challenges and stuff like that, it also has its own little map editor to make your own challenges. Like, this game just has so much content packed into it. And even if you're not good at making things, you're able to play the top-rated stuff that's made by other amazing people that are good at that stuff if you're not. So it's a game that has infinite content, basically. And for most of the stuff that I've seen, it's been really highly rated. Like the maps were actually good. They were not just really bad and they're just like the best there. But people were amazing at making maps for this game. So like if you like the game, you're never going to run out of stuff to play, and you're definitely going to get your price worth. And because this was an arcade game, it wasn't that expensive to begin with. So you were getting it for a bargain price, and the game sold extremely well. And now it's a Ubisoft IP, like one of the big ones. It's obviously not as big as Assassin's Creed or anything like that, but
you know,
it's big enough.
But you know what though, you're right, Dean, because when this game comes out, people take notice, and that's a big deal. When okay, let me just say this: when an arcade title gets up on Ubisoft's stage, that obviously there's something special about that game. Okay, well,
Yeah,
listen,
I didn't play the other ones though. The what was it? Teenage Mutant
the
Ninja
last
Turtles?
one was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time Reshelled. Now that had a little bit of controversy because the original Turtles in Time was flawless. This was a not a reimagining. They obviously redid the graphics and it didn't play as well, but it's still as a side-scrolling multiplayer beat 'em up. I absolutely loved it. A multiplayer, it's where is that when you have 4 friends. And you take, you know, regardless of what turtle you use, it is just a lot of fun. It's a lot of laughter, and if you're a old school cat, you'll appreciate it for sure. But let's move on to 2010 because this is another real strong year. They had Castlevania: Harmony of Despair, which was incredible. Hydro Thunder Hurricane, and if you're unfamiliar with that title, that was a launch title for the Sega Dreamcast, which I played until my fingers bled, and I did the same when it came out on the Summer of Arcade. You had the very different but awesome Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light. That was like that 3 3/4 view, top-down view of Lara Croft. That was also multiplayer. Limbo. I mean, listen, come on. Limbo is a household name. It's basically everywhere. As simple as it looked with its just black and white graphics, it was violent as all hell. And then you had Monday Night Combat, which it didn't hit on all cylinders, but wasn't a bad title. Not the strongest of all the years, but certainly there are titles in there that I think I beat all of them, other than because Monday Night Combat was multiplayer, so there was no real ending to that. What is your take on these games, Dean?
For me, it was a pretty solid year. Because out of the 5 games there, 3 of them were games that I played a lot. Well, actually, I didn't play Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light a lot. I did play it enough, though. Castlevania Harmony of Despair was a game that I finished. I played a shit ton of hours. What I was playing a co-op with a friend. I was playing Jonathan. I had my whip. So it was pretty awesome. It was a lot of fun. It was the first Castlevania game I played, and so I was younger when I was playing Castlevania on the Nintendo 64. So this was the first one to kind of get me back into it. And I think Castlevania is a strong series. And to see it become a Summer of Arcade game in its own type of game was pretty awesome. And I think it was 4-player co-op. I could be wrong, but I know it was at least 2 or more. But yeah, it was a great game. Very fun. It was really hard. Lots of replayability. Lots of different characters that you can pick from. So if there was a certain character that you didn't like, you can go through it. The maps are pretty big. There was, I think, 6 of them in the base game, and then they added DLC maps and stuff like that. I don't think they were overpriced. I think they were nicely charged. Like, it wasn't too expensive. And obviously, the best game in the bunch, which I think you'll probably agree with me when I say Limbo.
Yes, definitely. Hard as hell, but absolutely fantastic from start to finish.
Yeah, this game, also another game that got added for free for people that played Limbo on the Xbox One. It's like they just knew what games to bring back and give free to people that already had it. Limbo is, you'd think, well, actually, I wasn't going to say you'd think it's a lighthearted game, because just looking at it, there's something off, because it looks dark. Like, other than there being a kid on the front, you're like, I'll let my kid play this. The next second, you're going to be getting taken away by spiders.
I was just going to say you get stabbed by a spider.
Yeah, it's like, this game, don't give to your kid. Do not. And there's puzzles in it. Like, they all range from different difficulties. Obviously, it starts off a little bit easier and then gets kind of insane towards the end. It's not the longest game. It's long enough, and it's all about the experience, and it's definitely worth playing.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I mean, look, again, really, in my opinion, a strong month. Maybe, again, not the best of the best, but now we're going to move on to 2011. And this is where I start to smile, because Bastion was incredible. From Dust was very good. Fruit Ninja Connect, my nephew played the heck out of it. I played with him. It was a lot of fun. Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet, a good 2D game. But to me, the top pick here, besides Bastion, is Toy Soldiers Cold War. That was, a big. Again, if you played in a sandbox or a toy, and you had a toy box as a kid in your house, and you had your army men, you'll appreciate this game. Dean, what do you take from 2011 as being your favorite from this list?
Well, 2011 is a list of some games that I played, but none of them I put a lot of hours in.
Okay.
There's no good reason why I didn't play Bastion, other than it's on my backlog. I did start it and do a little bit in it, but I wouldn't even say I'm halfway. But what I did play was great. I'm just, like I've said multiple times, one of those gamers that is really bad at picking up too many games at once, and then they get lost in the shuffle because that newer games start coming out. And like, I have it. Like, we've said it again, this is also another game that is available on the Xbox One that was free for a limited time.
Yep.
Man, it's like the top game that we're always talking about with every year. It's like, oh yeah, you can also get it on the Xbox One. Yeah, but Bastion, like, that was so beautiful to look at. Like, in general, the art style, anything that has like a colorful or cartoony art style, they always, well, I'm not going to say always, but 90% of the time they always age well when they get turned HD, like full HD, or just look like they look super colorful and pretty. The gameplay that I did remember doing was pretty solid. The character was funny that was talking to you.
Yes, the character, the voice or the voiceover was fantastic.
And Toy Soldiers Cold War, I didn't play so much of this, but I did play the first one, which I assume the second one, from what I remember, has like lots of improvements that they made. It does have some sort of multiplayer, and also from the Summer of Arcade, Toy Soldiers Cold War also went off and became its own thing.
Yep.
And they also made a third one that released on, I think, the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, but that became its own series, like, because of how well the success was from the Summer of Arcade release.
Yes, and I'm glad, again, you bring up really good points, which is why I love having you on the show. The Toy Soldiers franchise, there hasn't been one in a while. I don't know if they're working on any new ones, but I am going to say this. If you remember the last one, you had the ability to use G.I. Joes and Cobras. And, man, I mean, that was another, again, a small arcade title ballooned into its own franchise. That is why this program needs to come back.
Man, what's it? I'm so bad that I actually bought Toy Soldiers 3, and I think I got the DLC, like, ones that came with it, like those ones that you were just mentioning. Because I remember when it came out, you were selling some extra armies, like a separate DLC.
Yep.
And I think I'm that bad, like, that I actually got it because it was a series that I knew I liked but didn't play a lot, and I actually have it like in my backlog. Like, that's just how bad I am. Like, it's just like, support the developer, get the game.
Listen, the backlog for me is also very shameful. I mean, I'm sitting on 750 plus games, and I'm going to be honest with you. I have been really. I just fell short of 8,000 gamer score this month. I was obviously devastated by UK Dazarus, who basically curb stomped me with his 10,000 plus. But yeah, I've been putting a dent into the backlog, trying to just get a hold of things. But I want to move on to 2012, and this was a fantastic year for a lot of reasons. First of all, to start it off was Deadlight, and that is probably in my top 5 or 10 of games from the 360 era. It was a Metrovania zombie game, and it told an incredible story of heartbreak, and it was incredible from start to finish. It's available again on the Xbox One as well. If you haven't played that, I would definitely suggest it. And next was a game that was made by one dude. Okay, he outsourced the music, but he did this himself. Dust: An Elysian Tale
Wow.
was incredible.
I did not know that was by one dude.
One
Like, I know
dude.
the game, I have it, I've
Yes.
played it a bit, and it's so beautiful, and the combat is so fluid, the movement. Man, one person, yes. Wow.
Yes, one person made that game. The only thing that he had help with was the audio. He outsourced the audio, and that was it. Everything else was done by him solo. And that game, if you have never played it, again, a Metrovania type of hand-drawn, gorgeous anime type style graphics. I highly recommend it. Then you had Hybrid, which I don't remember too much about for some reason. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD, that was fantastic. That's probably the last, I hate to say this, the last good Tony Hawk game that's been out. And you had Racketeer, and that was a Connect game. And again, I know, sometimes when you say Connect, people give you the thumbs down or the sad clown look. This game was fantastic. Basically, you were using like a slingshot kind of a catapult where you were just knocking down buildings and stuff. It was a lot of fun. Out of all of these games, in your opinion, Dean, what stands out?
Out of all these games, the one that I'd say would stand out, but it's a game that I haven't finished, and now I feel even extra shameful because I know now it was done by one person, did all this work, and I was so rude and like just didn't even finish it. Like, I knew it was a good game when I was playing it, and that was Dust. A game that I do have that I did play but didn't finish was Deadlight. I also have the Xbox One version, and yeah, those two, like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, I haven't played them since a Tony Hawk's game in general since like the PS2 days. So I wouldn't even know what that's like, but I assume you go on a skateboard like you do in the other ones and you skate around. But yeah, I don't know about that one. So yeah, Hybrid and stuff like Deadlight and Dust were games that I played. I didn't finish, but between them, if I was to pick, I played less of Dust, but I'd say that game would stand out as the biggest game that year because I know Deadlight it had an ending that lots of people didn't like.
Yes, the ending was controversial. I mean, it was, but it's no spoilers here. If you haven't played it,
oh no, I haven't played it. I just remember someone telling us, but I've forgotten now. Yeah. But that was what stopped me from playing it.
No, the ending is what I would have expected. To be honest with you, it wasn't so controversial that it was just like I did not see that coming. You kind of. I mean, the story goes is that he lost his wife and his daughter, and he kind of lost his shit, so to speak. So, and anyone would, but the fact that they tell this story from a hand-drawn graphics, almost like a comic style kind of a thing, is really, really, really incredible. I definitely highly recommend. As a matter of fact, I recommended it to UK Dazarus, and he loved it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so that definitely worked out. So we're gonna move on to the last year, and again, strong way to end it. I just never knew that we wouldn't have this program in 2014. This was the last year. 2013 launched with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Out of the Shadows, Flashback, which was an absolute classic, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, another game that's available on the Xbox One, and I highly recommend playing it. A real amazing, well-told story that has controls that are extremely different, and you will be scratching your head sometimes, but once you got the hang of it, it was a lot of fun to play. And Charlie Murder, which was another hand-drawn, gorgeous-looking,
beat 'em up.
yeah, kind of like it was a side-scrolling kind of a thing. out of all these games for you personally, what do you remember playing, if any?
Oh, this all 2014 Summer of Arcade has one of the best games I've ever played, and it's a game I've cleared multiple times, Xbox 360 version and the Xbox One version. It's emotional. It just has everything.
Yeah.
And that is Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons.
Yes.
Like, seriously, some people complain because the game is short or the controls are difficult. But yeah, the controls are not that difficult. Okay, you'll struggle for like the first like 2 minutes, 5 minutes until you get used to it and do the jumps. But you're like pretty good at doing it like after a half an hour. It doesn't bother you. It's a cool, unique thing that the game has going for it. Both of the brothers are insanely likable. I like the fact that they're speaking a different language, so you kind of just have to assume that what they're saying. It's not that hard either, and most of it, like the little brother, he does like little jokes. He doesn't even say any. He'll just go up and hit somebody or something like that.
Yeah.
It just goes like so much happens in this trip that they go on in a very short amount of time. Like they just go everywhere. It's emotional at the end. It's just such a good story. Like, I was not disappointed in the slightest. This is a game, the ending to this game has stuck with me when I played it all the way back in the Summer of Arcade when it released on the 360. I've gotten all the achievements. I went back, looked at all the things, sat on all the chairs, did everything you have to do, and then I did it all again on the Xbox One version. And I still felt the impact, the emotions, everything. It was still there, even though it was a few years since I last played it. And it's just one of those games that you can easily recommend, and I'd put it very highly in the games that in the games that I played. Charlie Murder was also the other game that I played. I didn't play too much of it, but I did play a good bit, and I just thought it was fun with great soundtrack. And I don't remember too much of it other than it was a lot of fun. I was playing it in co-op with a friend, and it was just a lot of it was a blast. Great music. Decent combat, like as you'd expect from the beat 'em ups, side scrollers, and yeah. But Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, like even if there wasn't anything, like that was one of the best games I played all year in 2013, and it's one of the best games I played in general. So a solid year just from that title alone.
Yeah, I mean, look, let me just say this: there are, when you look at this program and you go back like we did, and we kind of broke down each year, and we called the names of each game. If you are a fan of the Xbox 360, I don't think there was a year on this list that didn't immediately pique your memory banks when we started talking about it, which is why I really enjoy doing this particular show on the channel. It's something that's very different. We talk about older titles and what they meant to us, and no one is really doing that. And I really appreciate the fact that we have as many people in the chat and many people watching. It is a big deal for me because I like doing things a little different. And I'm glad that this really kind of stuck with the community because it is a big deal to me. I like talking about the past as well as talking about our future, which I do on Breakfast with Boom. But unfortunately, in 2014, this program, Xbox made an announcement that it was not going to be no more. And I was very saddened by this simply because when I thought of Summer of Arcade, I thought of excitement. It was something that was going to get my $100, give or take, depending on what each game cost for that 5-week block of the summer. And I don't think that you could look at that particular list and be disappointed. There really was a game for everyone, regardless of what type of gamer you were. And the unusualness of the program is what really separated. And I said this at the beginning of the show, the same way that the fans like me and you and the rest of the people in the chat wait for the announcement of the games with gold, right? Or the PSN free titles or what's going into Game Pass. We all sit like we're watching paint dry. We're all waiting, waiting, waiting. And when that news drops, everyone does stories. Everyone gets excited. Some people like it. Some people hate it. Twitter is great. The community really responds to this, whether it's good or bad. It's still chatter, and I'm really enjoy being involved with that. But the uniqueness of this program made it almost like a spectacle. It was something special that, again, people on both sides of the aisle, especially the media back then, really took to, really got excited. It was almost like a console launch excitement type of feeling, at least for me. And the fact that it's not there seems slightly disappointed. But I want to get your take on them taking away the program, what it meant to you, Dean.
It was very disappointing, being honest. Because like I said, some of the games that I just mentioned there, like Shadow Complex, Explosion, well, I wouldn't say Explosion Man is one of the best games I've ever played. Well, it was a very entertaining game, all the less. But like those games, like some of them were like brothers. Like I consider some of the best games I've ever played and could easily recommend to anyone. Like I didn't play every single game that released every year, granted, but like I wasn't rich. I was in school at the time, but it was something I was always hyped for and excited. Like I always loved the like little montage trailers that they were showing before the summer. They're like, this is gonna be out this week, and this is gonna be out the week after that. Get hyped, and I'm like, I am hyped. I just want the games. Like, yeah, like I was always hyped because we're both gamers. You know, we like to play games. We don't care about if they're AAA or AA or indie or anything like that. We play the games because we like games. If it's a good game, it's a good game regardless. It doesn't have to have amazing graphics or anything like that, which benefits us because we get to play more games. We're not going to hold something to a graphical standard. So like when they were saying that this was going, like I was upset because some of the games that I played, like some of the best games I played that year, some of the best games, I remember those games more than most of the AAA games that released that year. Like Shadow Complex is a game I wish got a sequel. That game was just simply amazing.
That's definitely, absolutely one game that there's quite a few titles, as a matter of fact. Deadlight would be a great sequel to that with a different character. Dust and Elysian Tale deserves a sequel.
I mean, attention.
They're, like I said, again, for an arcade type of situation where, you know, millions of dollars weren't being poured into these games, Microsoft really made the developers feel special, and putting their games up in this program really kind of just propelled a lot of these smaller titles to big things that we have today. And I think that's missing. Now, in 2014, more specifically, August 20th of 2013, I'm sorry, not 2014, Vice President Phil Harrison, who of course is no longer with the company, at Gamescom made the announcement that ID and Xbox was going to be the new program moving forward. And that was going to be headed by Chris Charler, who is the current director of that program. And what's really interesting, and this is really good stats, if you're a stat kind of a person, get ready, because you're going to be smiling from ear to ear. Next month is going to mark the 5-year anniversary of ID at Xbox. And the first ID at Xbox game shipped in April of 2014. Right now, obviously, we know that's the era of this current generation. That's when the Xbox One was out. And this is where it gets really good. Since the program has started, they have shipped more than 800 games since 2014. That's 800 different games. I can't know if there's 800 different developers, but the
Xbox has no games, man.
Yeah, no, they have no games. Terrible. But and this is where it gets good, because we're as gamers, we're gonna now see the fruits of this labor in the form of all these developers that they're buying, and the new development houses they're going to be making. After shipping those 800 games, they are ready to surpass $1 billion in revenue. And this number could grow significantly in the future because they have slated for an additional 1,000 ID at Xbox titles that are going to be released moving forward. This is a big deal. It's a big deal because Microsoft
it's break our wallets.
Well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't break wallets. You know, again, I don't mind spending $60 on a game, but it's, you know, if you can get a $20 or $30 game, perfect example. You look at games like State of Decay. One was an ID at Xbox title, right? I mean, that was, you know, it's an amazing title that now had an incredible sequel that I put over 60 hours into. The company was just purchased. Dead Labs was just purchased by Microsoft. They're now going to be a AAA first-party developer because they have the backing. And this is from a small arcade game that they launched with a couple of people working on it.
Sounds like a success story to me.
Yeah, it certainly does. What is your take from the success of this program, Dean?
The idea Xbox program, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I just love the success because the bigger they get, the more comfortable developers feel in going with them and working with them. And when they work with the IDX program, they get support from Microsoft. So if they're having any issues with the console or the development kit, all they have to do is reach out and they'll help. Microsoft will get back to them, try upgrade their development kit. If there is a more up-to-date version, they'll try help them with their issues. Like, the fact that Microsoft are doing all this extra work, like, just goes to show that they're in it to support smaller companies, smaller developers. Like, one of the games that they spotlighted at the E3 2018 was Tunic.
Yes.
You'll remember it because you were probably like, that's Zelda. Yeah, but the little fox that looks like Link because he's wearing like a green tunic. Like, that game is made by one developer. Phil Spencer made sure to point that out. And that game looks gorgeous.
That game looks absolutely stunning.
Yeah, like it does. Like, and I want to play that. I love The Legend of Zelda. I love cute little foxes now, apparently. So I guess I want to play this. This fox cosplayer who wants to be Link. Why not? Who wouldn't? Because it's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, he spotlighted that, and just to know that if you're partnered with Microsoft on this idea Xbox program, they will put you in their trailer montages.
Yes.
If you send in a clip that they think is cool or spotlights your game in a certain way that makes you unique, like, you're gonna get like good advertisement from a big big company. And you don't see Sony doing that. Like, you don't see Sony displaying a montage, like a 2-minute montage trailer at their E3 show. I know some people roll their eyes at these montages where they show off indie games, but for me, I get super hyped and I actually like, yes, here it is. I was waiting for this because I love the music that they have with them, and I'm always there looking at the names of the game, just trying to see what the future holds for indie games. Because me and Boom and like the people in the chat watching now, like, we love indie games. We love games in general. If a game is good, regardless of the size or the amount of developers working on it or the graphics. Like, a game is good regardless of it, like how many people worked on it. So when they show those montages, I'm just like, I want that game. I want that game. I want that game. Wait, it's over? I just said I wanted all the games that were there. Oh shit.
Well, there goes the wallet. But I am going to say this. This program that Microsoft continues to push forward proves that you don't need an $80 million budget for a game to be popular with fans and to make an impact in the industry. And I want to talk about Chris Charla for a second, because while speaking with GameIndustry.biz at this year's E3, he reflected on the program and what he has accomplished since its inception. And I kind of want to do a couple of quotes here because, you know, when you talk about Microsoft in this generation, you talk about second place, right? That's the first thing that pops in a lot of people's mind. You talk about the lack of first-party games, the lack of money being spent to promote their games. You know, these are some of the negative things. But recently, since E3 moving forward, there has been a confident Microsoft on all levels. And this is something that I think as fans, as everyone knows, I'm an Xbox first gamer, but I do proudly support all the consoles. And I say that all the time because, you know, after shows, I get messages, hey, listen, you Xbox fanboy. Yes, Xbox is my console of choice, but at the same time, God of War is still my game of the year. Right. So, you know, that's, you know, I got horse for another, you know, another show. But I want to just read some of his quotes because I think they're important to the confidence that is now walking around Redmond. This is Chris Charler, direct quote from him. We've been proud. We've been able to build something, and it's great to see developers bringing their second game or third game, and in some cases their fourth game to the Xbox One platform. To me, that means developers are having success and we're running the program well. If we tell a developer that something is going to happen, either we're featuring it in a marketing promotional or it's going to be at E3 on their stage, we follow through with that. And if we weren't doing that, I don't think developers would keep coming back to the Xbox platform. And I just want to read the second one before we break it down. I don't want to sound cocky or anything. Trust me, we have feet of clay. We know we have tons of work to do. We mess up like everybody else, and we hear it from the developers. We're always looking to do better. But if I do take a step back, I look at the last 5 years, the fact that we're seeing repeat games and repeat studios coming back to the platform makes me feel good about the job that we're doing. Please don't interpret this as we're going to coast or slow down. We have a lot of work to do. Now, I read these quotes to you. Dean, does this immediately garner confidence as a gamer or a fan of the Xbox platform?
Yeah, nothing but confidence. It just goes to show that this is a success of a program and that they're only seeing growth and companies that did release games already in the program that are coming back. If you were mistreated or you didn't like the rules or anything like that, you weren't getting the support that you were saying you would be provided if you had issues with the development kit or anything like that. If Microsoft weren't delivering, they wouldn't come back. If they weren't getting the advertisement or anything like that that they were promised, like you'd say something on social media or something if you wanted to make a scene, or you just would blank them. You wouldn't work with them again in this type of way. Like that's very like direct. You know, you have some sort of direct connection to Microsoft when you're doing this program. So I can only see success out of this and confidence. This show that some people were hating on this program when we first announced it, but here's the stats. It's only positive. There's only growth, and it's well deserved. Lots of games have released that we'll get into that are amazing.
Yes. So, yeah, we'll break it down on what are some of our favorite games.
And yeah, I'm happy for it.
I do want to read one last thing, the reason why I want to read this last quote because it is a big deal. Now, if you go to Xbox Live right now and you click on new games, they are constantly being bombarded with titles, and a lot of the times, smaller games fall through the cracks. And you know, again, unless you are looking every day, you're going to miss titles. But I like what he had to say about this. The other thing is just discoverability and promotion. The biggest issue for independent developers is a lot of the times is they really have heads down marketing when they're talking about their games, which is what they need to be doing. Basically, he's saying that not only do they need the help of Microsoft, but they need to kind of promote their own stuff through social media. I definitely believe that. And he continues with, and the rules and conversational wisdom for the best way to market your game and get discoverability changes constantly. They're different now than they were 5 years ago. They're different now than they were 18 months ago. And they're probably different now than they were yesterday. And it's hard for a developer to keep up with that. And he's 100% right. As everyone knows, I'm very community focused. It's something that when I decided to do this channel was at the forefront of what I wanted to do. I have met absolutely incredible people, but behind the scenes, what a lot of people don't know, I have met a significant amount of indie developers who I've had private conversations with. And when you see me pushing their game, it's not because I get a free code. As a matter of fact, as far as it stands today's date, I have yet to push someone's title and get a free code for it. I have not gotten a game gifted or a game code from any developer to this date, but you still will see me buying their title like a fan and then pushing it out with a review and screenshots, because I want to see the small developers win. I'm a small channel, and the only way I got to the success that I've had so far was because people took a chance with me. The community stepped up and really celebrated what I was doing. And that's what I enjoy doing with these small devs. And I absolutely encourage the community to do that. If you have a smaller game that you're really enjoying, take a picture, put it on Twitter, do a video on YouTube, give it a review. Write a blog. You know what I'm saying? These developers may not say it, you may not hear it directly from them, but trust me, everything helps. Dean, what is your take on what Chris Charla had to say regarding the discoverability of smaller games?
Like, I know some people like that are not into smaller scale, like less than AAA games, but like complained when this first started that they should have a separate store. They should be separate from all the other games so they don't get mixed in. Like, I remember that when it was happening. Because there wasn't a lot of games when the console first came out. So when they were seeing these smaller type games, they were like, we don't even consider these games, basically. But they've made like smaller games, like indie games and AA games, like they have really risen over the years, like through the Idea Xbox program, through Steam, through other sources. Like, smaller games are just, they've grown so much and they're getting so successful. That's why there's more of them. It's why smaller companies are investing money into smaller scale games instead of just going all out and trying to go bankrupt over a game. I know some companies still put everything they have into a game, but that's why, like, there's so many games. Like, there's too many games. Like, so many people are making games and it's hard for all of them to be successes. But overall, I agree that like this feature is good. Like, the Idea Xbox program is here to stay. It's so far, I haven't heard of any of the companies that released the game through Idea of Xbox going bankrupt. I haven't heard anything like that. So I assume all their games have sold like to a good extent that they were able to keep afloat and work on something else. But I agree with what they say, and I agree that they should be on the store with all the other games, because that's how they should be, because they're games. They're not, just because they're smaller in scale and budget doesn't mean they should be separated.
Oh, I 100% agree. But you know what? I want to get into the fun part of ID Xbox, because we went over all of the incredible titles that came out for Summer of Arcade, but there has been a significant amount of incredible games for the Xbox with this program. I did a list of 10, but you know what? You're the guest. I'd like to hear the list that you put together. What are some of your favorite ID at Xbox titles?
This is a game that probably not a lot of people have played. Rivals of Etar. Yes. I think I'm saying it, Etar.
Yeah, Etar.
This is like a Smash Bros. On Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have Xbox well, I was about to say it doesn't have Xbox characters, but wait, it does. It has one. Ori is in the game as a paid DLC character, and like I said, this is a Smash Bros. Type game.
Love it.
So it's pixelated. You have to hit each other, build up a percentage on health damage, and then knock them out of the ring. There's a few characters in it. A few characters have been released, including Ori, since its official release. It was in game preview when they first brought it out, but it's been released fully for a long time now. And it's a solid game. I highly recommend I highly recommend playing it, especially if you're someone that doesn't like you have nothing against Nintendo or anything like that. You think Smash Bros looks like a good game, but you just don't have the funds to get multiple consoles. If you like the Smash Bros genre, definitely check this out because it's not expensive at all. It's decently priced indie game, and I highly recommend it. And the next is if you're looking for something co-op to play, you probably already have this game because it was Games with Gold a little while ago, and that is
Yes.
Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time.
Yes. Good
Really
game.
fun game. Like, it starts off easier enough, then gets really hard as you go through it. Basically, two people stuck on a ship. You just have to work together to use the turrets, command the ship to fly around and dodge stuff. Very fun. You'll probably hate the person or not, depending on depending on how everything goes. It's kind of like Cuphead in that way, you know. It's like, oh yeah, this is cute and fun. Let's play co-op. I hate you. Get out.
Yeah. Yeah, you banish them off your friends list.
You are banished. You shall not enter. If you're looking for something free to play, I got you covered. Warframe.
Oh, dude, what an under talked about title. That developer supports that game like nobody's business.
Their whole company is literally invested 110% into this game. I played it when it first came out on the Xbox One, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Played it for a bit, stopped, and only until recently, after they announced all the new stuff, the Space Battles new open world expansion on top of the other open world expansion that they released last year or a few months ago, like they are bringing out so much free content. They changed the movement system. Like the whole gameplay is a lot better and a lot smoother now. So if you played this like a year ago, it probably plays completely different now. So I highly recommend checking this out. Like there is a learning curve, and I still don't know what I'm doing in this game. But if you're looking for something that's completely free to play, because there are microtransactions in this game, but all the armor, everything you can get, you can earn from in-game money. It's a little bit of a grind, but that's what these type of games are for anyway. So if you buy something, you don't have anything to grind for. Right. But solid gameplay. I highly recommend Warframe. Constantly updated and getting expansions. Another game that I'd like to talk about, I think Super Hot was free with Games of Gold recently.
Yes. Yeah, that was on my list as well. That's a freaking awesome game, man.
Yeah, it may be short, but I've played the endless mode, like the horde mode type thing on this so many times, just for like, oh, I don't know what to play, but I have a few minutes or I have a half an hour or 20 minutes. Oh, let's just turn on Super Hot because time moves only when you move, and you can just have so much fun, like trying to block bullets with the sword, just seeing how long you can last. And if you want to play it in fast mode, just don't go slow. Just try play normally and see how far you get. Like, it's just a lot of fun. And the story that is there, like the single player mode, like it's pretty interesting. It's different and it may not be long, but I had fun playing through it all the same. And it was a different experience, and it was something I didn't have before I played the game. So I can easily recommend it for that. The next one I have here is The Long Dark.
Yeah, I've never played it. I heard that game is fantastic.
Being honest, like I have it, but I only played it when it was in the game preview version. I haven't played it since it fully released. It has fully released like a few months ago. I just because I'm, like I said, I'm bad with the backlog. I just haven't gone back to it since they added the campaign and other stuff. When I played it, it was just like a survival. You're on the map. You have to like get food. But this game is really beautiful. Very nice art style. Hard. It's just really cool. And if you're into survival games that are very challenging but rewarding at the same time, I can easily recommend The Long Dark.
Nice.
And for another recommendation that I have right now, there's obviously a lot more, but there's so many games to go through. I only wrote down a few that I know that are awesome. Since we were talking about Castle Crashers, I thought I'd mention Pit People.
Okay. Yeah.
If you're someone that likes Castle Crashers or the Behemoth in general, you like that studio because of their sense of humor. You just, even though it's ridiculous, you still find it funny. Like, you're like, okay, you got a little laugh. Okay, I give it to you. But all other games are different as in the way of they all have different gameplay. Castle Crashers is like a beat 'em up action game type side scroller, with unique characters and powers and stuff like that. Battle Block Theater is a side scroller like game. Literally, you're jumping and doing all these puzzle things. And Pit People is like a strategy game where you have to control your characters around the board and fight other characters like that. I'm not very good at explaining what Pit People is, but yeah, that game is still in game preview as far as I believe. So if you're looking for something to play with all game preview games, you have the option to download them for free and play them for either a half an hour or an hour. So you can judge it on how far it is in the preview progress if it's something you want to buy. But you can play it for free and give it like a little demo for yourself. I enjoyed what I played of anyway.
Nice. Okay, is that it for your list?
That's it for right now.
Okay, well, listen, I'm going to go into my list. First and foremost, Inside. Fantastic title from start to finish. A real emotional journey. A gorgeous looking game. If you loved Limbo, you're going to love Inside. I mean, unbelievable. And here's another one. Another fantastic title that actually, in some instances, should have won Game of the Year in many people's lists. Cuphead was an ID at Xbox title. That game is one of modern gaming's masterpieces. I don't think I'm going on too much of a ledge here to say that. I have on my list Firewatch is another strong, emotional, game where it's a walking simulator. There isn't a lot of action in there, but it
will grip you. You'll be stuck, playing that until you finish it in one go, probably.
yeah. It's one of those games that kind of grabs you literally from the minute you pick up the CB and you start talking. It's an incredible title. If you haven't played it, I highly recommend it. You mentioned Super Hot, which was again fantastic title. Everspace. I don't know how many people have played it. That game is another one that continues to evolve. I highly recommend Everspace. Next on my list is Rocket League, which is just, you can call it soccer cars, you can call it, remote control cars, whatever you want to call it. That game is fun. Multiplayer is a blast, and you could lose yourself for 3 hours playing that game.
Well, that's also one thing to drop on the whole Rocket League is also a game and developer that fully supports crossplay. So you can play it with people on the PC and the Switch, no problem. PlayStation is still being PlayStation at the moment, but hey, right. if you have the Xbox version and you know someone that has a Switch or PC, you don't have to worry. You can play multiplayer with them all fine.
Yep, have at it. Absolutely. Next one. This is a smaller title. I actually was. This title came to my attention through a very, very famous YouTuber, which I don't know why, Randall Thor 19. He did a review on this, and I thought it looked awesome. I played it. Candleman, fantastic title. Very small development house that made it. I think the developer is from Korea, if I'm not mistaken. They released free DLC for the game. They didn't charge any of the players that bought the game not 1 red cent for the DLC, which was free and had achievements. OPS, by the way. If you haven't heard of Candleman, go look it up on YouTube. Go check out Randall Thor 19's video where he did the review. Fantastic. Here's another one. I haven't played it, but I know that this was super popular with the community. Stardew Valley, which is a huge hit for the ID at Xbox program. On my number 9 on my list, and this is a fantastic one if you're an old school gamer, Shovel Knight was an ID at Xbox title. That game has seen multiple iterations. If you've never played it, I highly recommend. It is hard. It is a learning curve, but it's like an old school, SNES type of game. And last but certainly not least, and my brother will smile if he's in the chat listening, Thimbleweed Park. If you're an old school gamer, once again, and you played games like Maniac Mansion, this is right up your alley. I think that every game on your list and every game on my list, extremely strong titles. I think that this program is going to continue to deliver more games each and every year, better as the program grows. But what I want to do is we're already past an hour, and usually that's what this show runs. I want to thank you, Dean, so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate that you take the time. I love your insight into the subjects that we talk about. And I really think people need to, try to help you get that 1,000 subs. You put a lot of work into your channel. The hard work is blatantly obvious, and I think you deserve to hit that 1,000 mark. Please tell everyone where they can, if you're new to the channel and you're new to hearing about creating Beyond Limits, do me a favor. If you like me, you're going to like Dean. We're really cut from the same cloth. Dean, tell everyone where they can go and follow you on Twitter and, hit you up for a sub on YouTube.
YouTube name is Creating Beyond Limits. You can find my channel by clicking on my name in the chat or link in the description. I do gaming videos, reaction videos, just random top list videos. I like to do content that I enjoy myself making and watching on YouTube, because what's the point of putting something out there that you don't like yourself?
Right.
So some of the content you probably won't be interested in if you don't like reactions or something, but there will be gaming stuff every now and again. I am just one person and don't have all the time in the world, so sometimes it can be a little bit spaced. I know that, but I try to work on it as best I can. I still do podcasts, like I pop on Boom's channel and I do a podcast, Coffee Casuals and Consults, which is on a temporary break, but you can find the videos on OSNEP, it's Mel's channel. It's a very fun podcast and I really like doing it. I just love talking games. I can do it for hours. I can do it no problem, especially when I'm talking to Boom. Like, we can go on, and I always find it crazy to see that it's already been an hour, like, literally. I'm still ready. I can talk about literally every single idea Xbox game here. Let's just keep going. They're all good. Well, not all of them, but, let's talk about good ones and some bad ones. But, yeah, in, like, Summer of Arcade was a spotlight. It was awesome, and Idea Xbox was a great thing to talk about. And thanks again, Boom, for having us on. If you want to follow us at Twitter, it's @Dean5578. I don't tweet a lot. I mostly retweet things, but sometimes I do tweet. So yeah, I am close to 1,000 subscribers. I'm around 20 subs away right now.
Nice. Come on, everybody. Let's line up and give this guy the 1,000 mark.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, I was saying you were trying to hit it before your birthday.
Yeah,
which is coming up.
My birthday is on the 18th of August, so I have around like 17 days. I hope to hit it by then to get another 20. Fingers crossed, because it's just a little channel goal I put out for myself, because my birthday was coming up and I saw that I wasn't extremely far away from 1,000. I was like, let's make a little channel goal for myself and try to hit 1,000 before my birthday. And if I hit that, that'd be cool. If I don't, it's not the worst thing in the world, because I'm lucky enough to have over 900. So, but yeah, thanks again, Boom, man. This was amazing.
Yeah, and you know what? Of course, the reason why we are where we are is because of the amazing community that we represent. And that is one part of this channel that makes me smile every day I put work out there. We would not be anywhere without the amazing people in the chat. And I want to shout out a couple of people. You have Beezy McNasty, Dreadpool, Lethal Papa, basically the enforcer of all chat. UK Dazarus, I couldn't do it without him. He is, of course, the moderator of the universe. Yao Ming, Agent Rayhan, thank you so much. Rob R, thank you again. Let's see who else is here. I like giving everyone their proper shout out, because the support that I have is second to none. We had Salty from the Saltiest Gaming show up. Mooch, good personal friend of mine. Crazy Greek dude, he's here every time. Tryhard fan, fantastic community member. Shane 786. DJ Singh, good friend of mine. Let's see. P-Ro, thank you so much for showing up. Xbox Pope, I was blessed, so my day is going to be fantastic. Anytime the Pope pops in and he blesses my channel, I get 10 new subs, so that's always great. I wish he'd come back more often. And you know what? The Welsh Gamer, Christina, thank you guys so much. I mean, the bottom line is, I would not be where I am without you. And every time you come to check out my channel, whether it's for 60 seconds or the entire 60 minutes, it is greatly appreciated. But again, I want to thank everyone. I want to thank you, Dean. Have a fantastic day. I really look forward to Friday's Breakfast with Boom. I hope everyone shows up. I have an incredible panel list, which I will be making an announcement later today. And the topics that I've been working on for the last few days are really hot button issues, and it should be a great show. Thanks again. Have an awesome day, everyone.
See yous.